Good evening and welcome to You Can't Handle the Truth Movies. My name's Chris, this is James, and we're going to review the Formula One movie.
You can't handle the truth.
A Formula One driver comes out of retirement to mentor and team up with a young hotshot driver.
And that Formula One mentor is Brad Pitt. There's one thing about this Formula One film that over the films we've been watching over the past few weeks, you really get to notice the difference in level in acting. And one of the reasons this was good is because in a lot of the scenes when they're having back and forths and dialogue and that, it's just like there would be in any normal room in a conversation. It's not like it's even being acted out. Like you really get into this movie, you feel what the characters are feeling. It's I think this movie blew me away, really. I thought this was one of the best movies I've seen this year.
This is very interesting because when I mentioned we should watch this film, he wasn't really that into the idea.
It wasn't. And also, I watched by the same director, Top Gun Maverick, which I hadn't seen, and everyone kept telling me how good it was. And I was like, that's really good too. So I thought, you know what? I went into this movie looking forward to it. Also, about 3 or 4 weeks before Brad Pitt was seen at Silverstone, I was actually on the track doing a track day. And that really helped me enjoy it a lot more because I never really used to be into cars very much in that. But all the corners that he was on, I've been round them in, it was a McLaren. And you get a massive appreciation for just how fast these guys are going when you see their lap times and how much G-force and stuff's on the corners. And just having that little bit of inside and being there and that massively inflated this movie for me, even though it was already really good.
So, as you know, I've always liked cars.
We know that.
I like, I mean, not.
There'll be another one on the drive next week.
Oh, yeah, I've kept this one for ages. And some of this brought some of the things into the limelight that you don't really realise. But they're training their neck muscles and that because they have to.
It's got some guy tugging on a string, like yanking his neck.
I like the Brad Pitt like balancing on the side of his bed.
Yeah, there was a series, I think it was on like Channel 5 or 4, and it went through the fitness testing that they have to do to be a Formula One driver because it's very intensive.
Brad Pitt's character plays, is it Sandy Hayes?
Sonny Hayes. Sonny Hayes.
Okay, and he was, a really hotshot young driver back in the day. Big crash out, ended his career, and then since then has just been driving anything
he can get. It's not about the money.
It's just about being fast, being in the car. And I really like that because of what you see is a lot of Formula One drivers when they kind of come to the end of their Formula One career to do like touring car and Dakar and stuff like that, and you can and rallying, and you can see just how good a driver they are because they're still right at the top of the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's been quite a few drivers in the past that in their 50s have still won championships and races and things like that. So it wasn't too far-fetched for you to believe.
No. There was a lot of tactics used throughout the movie.
Way more than you get in...
That's the only flag I had is I was thinking if this was actually in Formula One, I don't know. Would they even get away with the stuff they kept doing on repeat over and over?
Well, they didn't actually do the stuff on repeat. So they did one dodgy thing in one race,
and then he varied it,
and then he did something else
slightly.
But I mean, like they said, when he's taking his front wing off, and they're getting the safety car out, they said they're like 150 grand as safety.
The wing was 200,000.
Yeah, and they're like, well, he is technically helping win the race, but that is costing a fortune. That is not.
But the guy who went to him for help and all that in the first place was 350 mil in the hole. So he was either doubling down or at the end of the day, it's these numbers are. But still, the wings and stuff. He must have cost millions and millions for all let alone all the signage and stuff that he damaged throughout the film.
Great, and I like Formula One, but I've never since kind of the days of like, oh god, this show's made Hakkinen and Coulthard and Schumacher all racing that I've never really felt connected to a driver.
No. Well, the guy in this film was Hamilton, the main guy they was trying to beat. Yeah, was Hamilton. But they mentioned his name, dropped him a few times, but they never really made him out to be much of a. I mean, we know if you know Formula One, you know he is anyway, obviously. But if you don't know Formula One, then it's just like he wasn't really utilised much in the film for how good of a driver he is and why it is they need to beat him, kind of thing.
Well,
it just like he's the best.
It's just about well, because that's all they needed to say.
I know. I don't mean like he should have had a whole scene or anything. Just a couple more times they could have maybe shown a clip of him winning or just something. He just took his helmet off once and he was just the best one. And when it come to the end and they're going head to head, I thought if he just had a little bit more knowledge of who he was, just a tiny amount, it may have paid off a little bit more. But no, I'm not picking on that too much.
I think Hamilton was one of the producers as well, wasn't it? As Brad Pitt was, and
Yeah,
there's a lot of them.
lots of producers.
The young hotshot driver, Damson Idris, I think played him. Again, they have to be good at acting, especially when you're standing next to Brad Pitt in a film. You have to pull your weight. I just believed that he was a young hotshot that was at first really pissed off that this old guy was telling him what to do. And then towards the end was like, actually, all you've done is help everybody.
Yeah.
And that crash, spoiler, and he's then on the simulator and he's like going over that race again and again and again. He keeps trying to take that corner the same way he did when he crashed.
Wasn't quite a Rocky montage, but it was a good effect.
And he kept going wrong, and he kept crashing out, and then he listened to what he was meant to have done, which is wait till the first corner before the straight, and he won the race. I think that was the point that really changed his whole perception. Like, you're a really good driver, but he just sees what's going on, and that's really important. I think the tactics and stuff. I mean, they were getting very frustrated, but
so they're trying to basically get into the top 10 or above to maintain their contract to keep
points
going.
and money, yeah.
And the guy who was either director or the board of directors, he dobs them in, gets them looked at by the authority to change their design back to their previous design, because Brad Pitt chips in his knowledge to make some changes to the design and that, right? So you then think Brad Pitt's gone with him, and you got the old classics: is he with him or isn't he with him? And then Brad Pitt talks about that state. It's like a flow state he gets into. He says he's flying when he's just driving, and he has to get to that state, and then it's just him.
He's always chasing that.
He's just always chasing it. I think a lot of guys will be able to, girls as well probably, but I'm a guy, so a lot of guys can understand where that's coming from, where you're just like in a flow state, you're in the zone, and it's just where you need to be at that moment. And when he gets to that point at the end of the movie, when he does the right thing, the relationship pays off with the guy that they've been going back and forth with. There's so much in the movie to make you care, give a like kind of thing when you're watching it. And also the good thing about Brad Pitt is he's very good at making it very Hollywood, to the point that it doesn't become too over the top. Like when he's being like doing silly things and that, he does them to the point of pushed realism. So you think, yeah, that probably, people do some stuff, but he doesn't go over the top to the point where he's like doing loop-the-loops and just making things silly. He's very believable, and you stick with it right to the end. And I thought it followed through from start to finish very well, considering I didn't want to watch it at all.
Yeah, and even the cards that he put in his pocket, when he racing, he'd take one card out from his pocket as a good luck charm. And when he won the race, he finally won his Formula One race and all that, and kind of time over that. But when he's in the car, he looks at the card, but instead of it showing you what it is, they don't need to. Like, it just needs to show you that he and he kept that. I won't touch the trophy. He thinks it's bad luck.
Yeah.
Because superstitions are massive when you're doing sports and things at a really high level. I mean, Lewis Hamilton used to keep a conker in his pocket. So, yeah. So these are things that you can take away and go, oh, they really think about this. And when they're sat in the room and they're just shadowing, going through, there's so many different sports where you have to do that, even like bobsled and things like that. You have to know the course and the track and the thing that you're doing inside and out. And so he does another thing where instead of running on the treadmills and that, he runs around the track, and that's good for his fitness, but it also helps him visualize everything on the track how he should do. So it's a much better understanding. You even see him feel the tarmac and the rubber. So it shows you how much thought goes into being behind basically a rocket on four wheels. It's very obvious that we both really, really enjoyed this film. So it's just about how much we enjoyed it out of 10. Shall I start us off?
Sounds like you want to. Let's see what.
Because I don't normally.
I have no idea what he's going to say.
8.5.
8.5.
Hmm.
Favorite film of the year?
Favorite film of the year so far? I mean, we're only in.
I think it probably is the best film I've seen this year.
It had everything. It kept you interested. There was a little romance story which didn't ruin it, and I thought it might do. It was cheesy, but not too cheesy. It kept you interested. You were really rooting for the team at the end, and it was just so well shot. Do you know they didn't want to use a lot of green screens? It's another thing. So they actually put them in Formula One cars, and
I would give this movie an 8, but for personal experiences and all the other things that go with it as well, I'm going to give it another point. So for me, it's 8.1. I thought this was a really good film. I'd recommend it to anybody to at least have a go of it. And I think most people that do watch it, if they want to see a good acted film, good story, play for it, it's just a great film. So 8.1 for me. I would like to go a bit higher, but I think 8.1 for me is about right. And
So,
if you're 8.5,
8.3.
we're looking at 8.3 out of 10, which is for us.
That's a phenomenal
It's
film.
seven is better than average, so we're saying it's a really good watch.
Go and watch it.
Check Formula
You'll
One out.
really, really enjoy it.